We're looking for talented individuals like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait. Apply now.
This is it, Husker fans, your final chance to see Nebraska baseball at home this season. It starts Tuesday, May 6th with a huge rivalry matchup against Creighton. Then it's a Big Ten showdown as the Huskers host Michigan May 9th through 11th. Every game matters and your support can make the difference. Great seats are still available, but they're going fast. Get your tickets today at huskers.com/tickets or by calling 1-800-8-BIG-RED.
Welcome into Fitness Fanatics on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Now here are your hosts, Jeff and Nicole Essink.
Am I on? Okay, I wasn't when I said that. All right, welcome in, Fitness Fanatics. Happy Lincoln Half Marathon and Marathon Day. If you're out driving around downtown Lincoln.
You're probably not. You're probably just in your car waiting.
Yeah, and be nice, right? Don't be like honking at the runners and, oh, let me through. Like, I mean, no, I used to be that person before I ran.
No.
Like, oh, don't you guys have anything better to do than to run 13 miles on a Sunday
26.
or 26?
Yeah, you go home and just slam some Casey's pizza.
Oh, absolutely.
So much better.
What's that shirt say that about my running with pizza that you bought me? Like, I run to get pizza.
Yeah, I
something.
can't remember, but yeah, I know. Something like that.
Having pizza after a nice long run is a great reward. It's a great reward. So we got to give a shout out to our members that we know are out there on the course right now. Megan Peterson, who's a super fan, who stalks Harrison when the podcast isn't done. She's out there on the course right now running.
She is. She's about ready to start the gauntlet of death up the hills around mile 9.
Yep. And then you turn on the 9th and you're like, there's the stadium. I'm so close. And you're like miles away.
Man, she's running marathons too.
She's running the half today.
Either way, that's one I've ran in a while. Definitely got to make sure I got
all inspired.
She's
just all inspired by the Fitness Fanatics.
And right now, just Megan, because I know she's going to listen to this later. She's currently 1,551st for women, which is a palindrome, which is something that my brain recognizes all the time. So she's 1,551.
Okay, so she'll like that.
In the lot of 2,777 female runners.
Did you take a screenshot of that for her?
Actually.
So she's in the top half right now.
She just thinks I'm weird for it, but.
And then also we have Carrie Foote, who is out there on the half course also. She's been a member or a guest on the Fitness Fanatics, she is a member at the Yankee Ridge location. And then we have quite a few.
Mile 7 right now. No palindromes on her screen.
Oh.
We're tracking them on the app right now.
What's this about the palindrome session?
I see palindromes all the time. Like when things are the same forward and backwards. I just see
really catches your eye.
They do. It's annoying. I know. My mileage, when it hits palindromes, I take screenshots, and like my steps were palindromes earlier this week. It's just one of those weird things.
When we're driving and the odometer is a palindrome, she's like reaches over and takes a picture while I'm driving.
The rule is I can only take a picture of a palindrome if I'm not driving. It has to be at 0 if I'm driving. But if you're driving, then I can take a picture of it.
Yeah, she's just leaning over, just
not trying to take a picture of my odometer while I'm driving. So
sometimes I think I understand the Essinks, and then
I don't.
That's her.
I don't understand that.
But then you're still over there with your corded mouse,
which we have never talked about on air.
That's okay.
I don't know. I can't help it. I just see palindromes all the time. There's 3 weird things about my brain. Palindromes. I see my birthday almost every day in a number somewhere, in a time, on a license plate. I'll see my birthday. I'll just pick up my phone randomly. It's 5/22. That's my birthday. I see that.
So watch, Harrison. You'll start noticing that stuff if you're thinking about your birth. What's your birthday? Like
April 12th. I'm
so 4/12.
Yeah, I don't ever.
Well, you'll start now. Like, oh, it's 4/12.
I see 5/22 at least once a day, almost sometimes more. It is. It's weird. I don't know. And then I also have my weird obsession with license plates tags, which we've talked about because I've been heated before when the license, the colors change, but not enough. Like what the time.
That one I get though. That's more just like being kind of people watching.
It is like people
a little bit.
It is.
You see like, look at this guy.
Wow,
especially when you see
like
some of those tags. It's like
3 ago.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like years.
And she has a problem with people not putting the tag over the existing one.
Well,
So like if
that's
there's a plate, there's like 4 of them in a row.
I mean, come on. That's just anarchy. They're supposed to go in the top right corner. I think everybody knows that.
Everybody.
I can sign up. That is a little bit of anarchy. I can actually sign off. I agree with that one. If you're just
So
like
that's
going,
just a glimpse into my brain. But palindromes is a big one. I see them. I'm drawn to them. You would think I'm like a numbers person, but I'm not. I'm terrible at math. I'm a patterns person, I think.
Yeah. So shout
Just a
out to those
glimpse.
guys. And we have a bunch of former members that are out there running as well. So
Yeah, that wasn't a topic we were going to plan on.
usually I get inspired on this day. Like we go watch and I was like, because Nicole and I've done 5 full marathons. Nicole's done 4.
Mm-hmm.
And just like Carrie had posted a picture on her Facebook of like a selfie at the start line. Like this was such a great idea 5 months ago, but not now. I've had that feeling so many times. Like, why am I doing this? This is stupid. This is crazy. But I think back to like what, like we're talking about training runs, or what Pete was out there watching with us. And in the summer, when you're training for a full, like we would start our training runs at 4 a.m. Just pitch black, nice and cold out for the heat. But I don't think I could run. The last time I ran, speaking of races, the last time I ran was at the Nebraska road race last July. And so we wanted to touch on that here. Now we do have a guest.
It's an all running all day show.
It's an all running show. Yes. Yeah. We're going to talk about.
So it's fitting that we're talking about running
yep,
already.
Talking about running, easy runs like the Nebraska road race,
Mm-hmm.
Crazy runs like marathons, and then the super crazy runs and marathons, which our guest at the top of the hour has done.
Some of the craziest. Harrison, just be prepared to be like blown away. We'll talk about it in the next segment. He's not going to join us till 10. So in the next segment, we'll talk about some of the things that he's done. Your mind won't even be able to wrap around it.
Have I heard about this race before?
We've talked about the Barkley marathons.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes. But he's done crazier things, I think, even than Barkley, but he's going to be
even
on
just doing that
to
one.
talk about Barkley. Yes.
Borderline.
Yeah.
Like,
I talk about it every year when it comes up because it's wild. But then I looked at all the other stuff that he's done, and he's done like crazier things than Barkley, I think. But we'll get his take
I was
on it.
Getting winded just walking here from the car.
No, you weren't.
No, I wasn't. But still, like, yeah, it's just crazy. So we always say there's always somebody crazier than you. I don't know if there's anybody crazier than John.
Well, there is, because lots of people do it. So
I think Goggins still has the crown. Whatever you think about what he does, he's
Goggins has backed out of Barkley twice. Just so you know.
Backed out?
I bet you he's also accomplished it 100 times.
No, he's never accomplished it.
He's
been supposed to do it, and he's backed out of it 2 times. He's
he
never
has
done
no
it.
Cartilage.
He's never done it. So I wasn't going to throw any shade towards Goggins on this one, and I won't bring it up to John, but John's done things that David Goggins has never even dreamt of doing.
Maybe David Goggins will listen to this podcast.
Honestly.
He probably doesn't, because I'm not a huge fan.
Get him on here and grill him on it.
No.
Figure out why he hasn't done it.
Not interested.
All right. So you
got to take him with a grain of salt. He does have some good takes, but he also has some bad takes. So that's
I just like he runs really hard and he runs a lot.
Just wait.
He's a hard-working guy.
Just wait.
Yeah,
but speaking of easy races.
Yes, Nicole and I are out here watching all these people, thousands of people doing this half marathon or full marathon. And I'm like thinking every single person out here should be doing this Nebraska road race, because it's only 3 miles
in July.
And you get to meet all the players and some of the coaches. And it's for pediatric brain cancer research. And it's really awesome. And it's July 20th. And we have set up our team on the fundraising page.
Just so you know, Harrison, Megan has turned her stocking from you to Jeff, because Jeff hadn't done the team yet. So
she's getting on me about
she'll
this.
Be glad to know that the team has been set up this morning.
Yep, it's been set up. So if you just go to huskers.com/road race, you can join our fundraising team. We're Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping. So if you want to be on a team, we would appreciate having you on there with us. That's coming up on July 20th. It's $35 to register for the 5K. And I believe it's $20 for the fun run. So they do have a 1 mile kids fun run that you can do. Trying to, our members, if you have kids, we've talked about this before. If my dad would have taken me to one of these things back in the early 90s, and I would have been able to meet Steve Taylor and Keith Jones. And I mean, that would have been just the coolest thing ever. It would have been like Super Dad and get all these autographs because Ben has all autographs. He has autographs from Dylan, from Ty Robinson, from, I mean, guys that are going to be playing in the NFL.
Time will tell.
Yeah.
I mean, especially if you were in your era, that would have been extra cool.
Yeah, it would have been
Because
cool.
like you wouldn't really know it at the time, but you would find out.
Right.
You know, those years, it's like, oh, these all of a sudden these autographs are way cooler than even they were when they first got them. But yeah, right now, I mean, that's a super cool thing. That's one thing I always like being around the Lincoln area. It's like there's a lot of really cool things they do.
Mhm.
That's always like one of the best ones, those Husker Road races.
It is, and there should be more people there than there is already. Now I don't know if they're out there because I know they're doing installing new field turf right now. So I'm pretty sure, at least I saw a picture of it was torn up. So I don't think they're finishing.
The
in
Lincoln.
The Lincoln's not finishing on the field this year. I don't think
Today,
but,
right now.
Today, yeah.
You would think by July 20th
I think
for
so.
the road race.
Yeah, because it's finished inside there the last couple years or last year. You just run.
Well, even if they don't, they'll make it some cool finish.
Well, when are they putting in real grass? Will that end when they put real grass down in Memorial Stadium, you think?
I don't know.
I doubt it.
That's
No
for
way.
a few
Just
years
one
away.
day.
Few years
Yeah.
away.
I don't know if they wouldn't end it. I still don't think.
They're putting in the new field turf. So that'll be, but yeah. So again, huskers.com/road race. You can join our Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping team. I would love to do some shirts this year. Sometimes we get people that sign up late, and there's a couple years where we've had matching shirts, which is pretty cool because then we stand out to everybody.
Oh, 2 years. We've done it 2 years. Yeah.
2 years.
Yeah.
Yep. So
stay tuned for that. We'll be talking about it a lot.
Harrison, have you
Coming up.
ever done any half marathons?
Never have. I've ran how much is the full marathon again?
26.2 miles.
Okay, so I've ran like on my own just short of half. I think the most I've ever ran without stopping fully was like 11 miles.
It's just short of a 20K, not even a 20K.
I didn't really know.
I know.
Just like I did 11. I was like, I was
good.
Yeah,
You're just
That's
out for
funny
fun.
that you would, because I would think you would stop at 10 and be like, that's good. But no, you kept going to 11.
well, I was still going downhill. I remember it,
Oh, yeah.
and all of a sudden I was going uphill, and I was like, 11.
We're good.
Any desire to train for one? Like this,
yeah,
seeing
I
the
need
runners
should.
inspire you.
Always puts a little bit of guilt back inside me of like, oh, I remember my peak.
Yeah.
That's
far
what I
from
feel
it
like
now.
too. Like
Yeah.
I'm watching those guys out there, and I'm like, man, they're just. And then I see people come by, and they're, of course, the runners we saw. They're in they're the peak runners, right? They're running by at the hour and 30-minute pace for the half and the 3-hour pace. Pete's finishing up his half right there.
Just pull it.
Just
he
ran
pulled a
by.
hammy. He pulled a hammy. Spectating.
Yeah, so those runners we saw, they're the peak runners.
Yeah,
so
they still look pretty fresh. Although I was saying I was a little disappointed because you can't tell from the bibs to today's race who's doing the full and who's doing the half. I would have liked to know that. Because the one great thing about the Lincoln marathon is the half finishes at the actual halfway point of the full marathon. So as of right where we were watching, it was still full and half marathon runners. So I always like to see which one's which, and I couldn't really tell unless it was by bib number, but I didn't know. So you couldn't really tell. I don't know who was like almost done and who was like almost halfway done.
I need to get out there.
There's a big difference in your demeanor.
Yeah, because when you're at where we're at 10th and 0, you're just like you're almost done. You have just a few blocks to go. But if you're running the full, you're not even half done yet.
Yep.
Which I've always kind of wanted to run the Des Moines half marathon because I've never done.
You've never done the Des Moines half?
I've only done the Des Moines full. That's it.
Why is that so shocking to me? I've done the Des Moines half probably 15 times. I think
you're thinking dam to dam.
No, I've done it a lot though.
I don't think so.
I'll have to look it up.
Because on the Des Moines,
You tell me, Jeff. You tell me how many races I've ran.
I think I would know. You've done no, I don't think you've done very many. You've done relays with people like with me.
So how about you just stick to talking about what you've done? I regret even bringing this up. Keep going.
We'll look it up and see. But I know we've done a lot of dam to dams, but not a lot of halves.
Yes, I have. I've done the Des Moines half a lot.
A lot. What's a lot though? Like,
I don't
give
know.
me an
Just
over
keep
under.
Talking.
Over under.
I'm not over undering. I'm already annoyed.
But you shouldn't be.
You guys will have to run half marathon best time. Settle this after the show.
Well, he's beat me like by 2 minutes.
So
Or
I
PR.
have the fastest
Yeah,
half
He
between
does.
us,
I already know that.
and the fastest full between
Who's the better
us.
sprinter though? You think?
Probably Jeff.
Sprint. Well, yeah,
I hate
I have
sprinting.
long legs. Nicole has short legs. That makes a huge difference.
I could run farther right now than Jeff could by
She-
a,
well,
you
that's-
want
by a
long
lot.
legs for being a sprinter? I thought you wanted short legs.
Well, I can cover
No,
faster.
because your stride length is longer. My stride is like bing,
but the
tiny.
takeoff is harder. Maybe,
Maybe.
I'm just not a great sprinter.
I don't know.
That's probably what it is.
I don't know if I've ever sprinted anything.
I think I tried sprinting and I was like, oh, my legs are just long. That's why I'm not good. Not realizing I just
You're just not
I probably
fast.
wasn't a very good. Yeah.
I don't know if
I,
anyone
I,
would
I
say.
know I'm at the age of 26 today. I definitely was never fast.
Like
in the short
look at
distance.
Usain Bolt's legs.
I was
Does he
just
have
gonna
short
say
legs?
that.
No, he has
That's
long
what,
legs, and he's like a
making
gazelle.
sense.
Right, you can cover more distance. I remember a couple years ago when Vershawn, they ran through the 400 and then Nick ran it. Remember that?
Yeah, who was? I think,
I really want to get out there and see what I could do a 400 in at some point.
Beat Nick's time.
I can't remember who had the fastest time, but I remember
I'm sure one of them knows.
I remember them both out there doing it.
Yeah.
I need to get out there and do a 400 just to see, like, because I've never really ran as fast as I can for a short distance. I've ran a mile as fast as I possibly can, which I think my fastest mile time is nothing to be excited about. It's like 7:20 or something for 1 mile.
I'd still much rather
I
run
still
a
think
mile
that's
than
fast.
the 400
Oh yeah, me too. 100%.
or the 800. 800, man, it's the
I'd
worst thing
rather-
you could ever do.
I'd rather run 5 miles than 1 mile.
Yeah, because when you run just the 1 mile, that's when everything starts to hurt. Like your side aches, your shoulders
shaking
hurt,
everything out.
ankles hurt. And I remember you started long distance running before I did, and you would always say, "I'm telling you, you run through that." And I'm like, "Run through it? A side ache? How do you run
Shin
through a side ache?
splints?
Shin splints and
Not
ankles
shin
hurt.
splints, but yeah.
No, you just everything hurts right away, and you're like, "Oh, I'm 2 blocks into this. This is not good." But you eventually run through that. But I can't imagine like doing what John has done.
No.
So
Our guest. We'll talk about it in the next segment.
that'll be pretty cool. So anything else
There's
going
no
on?
sports to talk
we got a
about?
couple text messages
Now's
in here.
your
Let's see.
chance.
Actually, we got a couple text messages. So the OG CJ, watching the runners makes my leg hurt even more
Yeah.
today.
You guys
Kinda.
get shin splints
No.
bad or anything
No,
when you're running?
we used to.
When I very first started running.
How do you
yeah.
take care of that? Because I know a lot of people get that problem.
Ice.
Yeah, I remember.
Strengthening your shins is important.
I remember we take like an ice cube and just run it up and down your shin.
It's one of those things you just kind of got to grit your teeth through it.
No.
And then it goes
Yes and
away,
no.
right? Ours
As-
has just gone away. The
as
more you
they-
run,
Yeah, but you can hurt yourself too. You can get stress fractures and stuff if you don't. But it's the big thing with shin splints. A lot of new runners get them, or runners that try to do too much too soon. So the biggest thing is to just like gradually increase your distance instead of thinking. I think it happens a lot to like our members, our Pharaohs members, because they think, well, I can do a 45-minute kickboxing class, so I should be able to just go run for 45 minutes. And like, yeah, maybe endurance wise,
cardiovascular wise, yes.
But like your body is not conditioned to
Yeah.
run for 45 minutes. And so then that's when that shin
Yep.
splints happen.
Your
So-
ankles, your knees, your
Yeah.
shoulder, I mean, everything.
And a
You're
lot of
just-
that you don't know until the next day.
No.
So I think that's the biggest way to kind of prevent shin splints is to gradually increase your mileage and then ice it and then some.
So I remember we'd have
strengthening.
these big tubs and then
Mhm.
we'd stick our legs in there
Yeah.
to get the shins.
Whatever works, because those got to be super annoying, especially if you're
It
just
is.
getting into working out and you're finally motivated for it. And then the next day, it just like hurts to even just do a little bit of a jog.
It does.
Yeah, they're one of the most annoying things.
But it's like
Yeah.
anything, you just, the more you do,
Get better.
yeah, usually like for me, I haven't had a shin splint in 15 years.
Yeah,
When I
it's been a
first
while.
started running, even when I've taken years off and then got back out to running,
Yeah.
my shins never hurt, but they
Mhm.
did at the very first. So
I think it's a very typical new runner. It's also, I've talked to Megan about this because she's had some shin pain. It's also sometimes a good indicator that you need new shoes.
Mm.
Because
Yeah.
I think sometimes runners, we tend to run too long on our shoes.
we did have a text from Crowbait said in college, pitchers had to run a mile time and under a certain time or we were off the team. So I ran for that. Anything more, I'd probably die.
No, because you probably ran the worst part of any run, I think. I mean, there's definitely sprinters would have different, opinions on running, but I think most people who train for longer distances agree that the longer it's easier a
Yeah.
little bit.
We
I
got
think
to
the unanimous is like the middle is always the worst.
Sometimes it's all
Right? Is it
mental.
most 480. I feel like those are the
yeah.
ones that everyone's like,
yeah.
those are nightmares. But you can do like 10 miles and you can do 200 meters. But it's
Right.
like, you do 400, 800, all of a sudden it just starts getting weird. Like it just becomes
Anything
brutal.
on a track seems overwhelming to me. Like you're telling me I have to run in a big oval, however
I've
many times.
The only track I've ever ran on was at Drake Stadium during the Des Moines Full Marathon.
Yep.
Because that's part of the run is you go into Drake Stadium and you run a lap on their blue track.
Which
Didn't
is
you do
very
track
cool.
in high school?
No.
Oh.
No track. I've never done track, any track thing
Either.
at all.
No.
So I don't know.
Yes.
I wasn't very fast. Remember my 40 time was not good.
Right.
The
Something to
Nebraska
work on.
camp.
We had a Facebook message too from Tara. She said she's wanted to run, but if you see me running, you should too, which is a very typical thing that
somebody
people
said
say
coming
because
to get her.
someone's chasing her. Yeah, and she said she knows it's a mindset. It is. Running is more mental, I think, than it is physical. Almost every time.
See, I'm kind of getting inspired right now. Maybe I should go for a little run tomorrow.
No, we're going for a bike ride today.
We are. Because coming up at the end of June, we're going to do 100-mile. It's called a Century Ride. 100-mile bike ride at the end of June.
Yep.
Is it like a bipedal bike, both you guys, or
No, oh my
Two-seater?
gosh, absolutely not.
Nicole, you
No.
would never get Nicole on a 2-seat bike with me
No
ever.
way.
I
that'd be
think
a
it would.
fun race?
I
though,
think
can you
it would be
imagine?
awesome to ride on a tandem bike.
No thanks.
Oh, that's
together.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Tandem.
Tandem,
Bike, that's what I was trying to say.
But she's like, no, because last year we did Ragbri, so we did like 78
last
miles.
year?
Yeah, last year.
Yeah.
But this year Ragbri is way far north of
Northern
Des Moines, so
Iowa.
it's like too far to get a ride and get back and stuff. So we're just gonna do a 100-mile bike ride with our friends in Des Moines at the end of June, kind of to celebrate our 27th wedding anniversary.
There's two.
So it's coming up in 7 weeks, and we've rode. This is really funny.
7 weeks.
We did Ragbri last July, and my bike is still yet to be put together.
No.
He had to take the front wheel off of it to get in our car, and it still doesn't even have its wheel on yet. So we got to get on that bike.
We kind of
Yeah, 7 weeks is crazy for that distance, and your wheel still being off.
it's fine. It'll be fine.
It's fine if you get after it.
It's
today.
not a race. We're just doing it for
Yeah.
funsies.
Yeah,
So
we're just going out for
they
a
haven't
stroll.
been out on their bikes a ton either, so that helps. Though
At-
I'm sure they'll go out on their bikes
At
today.
Ragbri, you were wanting to go fast. There's so many people, but this is just the four of us, so we're gonna just go out on the trails in Des Moines, and I don't know wherever Brant's planning that ride for us. So,
it's gonna be more of a leisurely.
Yeah.
It'll be- I mean, it won't
exercise.
be leisurely. We'll be booking it in between, but there'll be multiple stops along the way. There's just like trails you can go on and there's things like this in Lincoln too, where you can ride your bike for, 10 miles or so. And then there's like just some like bar that you can stop off at and
get some food.
So
you
it's a workout, not a race.
It's not a race.
not a
at
race.
all.
It's
We're
just-
just doing it for fun. It's not even
Yeah.
like organized. It's just us going out to ride 100 miles, basically.
That sounds crazy. When
Sounds
you say
like
it.
so
But
much
it's
fun.
not really
Well-
we're a race or a workout. We're just going out for
I've
fun.
done
We'd
it.
rather-
I've done a century ride before on accident with these same people, Brant and Heidi, where Brant was like, "Oh, we're gonna do 60 miles, okay," and then it ended up being 100 miles. That was rude, Brant. I think
Yeah.
he knew the whole time it was going to be 100.
Well, we'd much rather ride 100 miles than run 100 miles.
which is something that our guest that will be on at 10 has done multiple times. He's done more than 100-mile races. He's done 200-mile races. He's done.
I want to know what like the record is because I was like 100 just sounds insane.
Yeah. Well, we'll
We'll have
find
to
out.
find out. I was gonna
200
say, yeah.
like running from here to Des Moines.
I thought it
Here
was
we go.
not even
more farther than
farther.
that.
Yeah.
Farther than that.
Maybe to Ames.
Maybe.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to take a break. So stay with us. We're going to talk a little the Barkley marathons and kind of set the table for our guests who will be with us at 10. So if you're out there listening, keep running, be inspired. We'll be right back. 93.7 The Ticket, the Fitness Fanatics.
If you came across someone struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them?
By their clothes,
Their age.
the way they speak.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America, 200 Food Banks Strong, and the Ad Council.
Welcome back, race fans, to the finish line every Sunday night. I'm James Rowland. Join Bree, Marie, and me every Sunday from 7 to 8 p.m. on 93.7 The Ticket FM or theticketfm.com for the finish line. All the latest news for local and national motorsports, all in one place. 93.7 The Ticket FM.
Make plans to join 93.7 The Ticket and the Amon Green Foundation for the first annual Nebraska Esports Golf Tournament on Monday, June 9th at Wilderness Ridge. It's a four-man scramble starting at 11 a.m. that will feature former Husker greats, including Amon Green, Johnny Rogers, Niles Paul, Tony Davis, Adam Carricker, Vershawn Jackson, and more, with great prizes and great golf. Sponsorships are also available. Email Jake at theticketfm.com for more questions or sign your team up online at theticketfm.com. Early bird registration goes through April 20th, and overall registration goes through May 30th.
Hi, this is Pastor Tom. Did you know there's a place kids can seek out help when they're away from home and something goes wrong? They find themselves in a difficult spot or even a dangerous situation. Maybe another child is bullying them or a stranger is following them. Perhaps on a date and things just go bad. In Lincoln, here's where they can find help. It's called Safe Place. Safe Place is a national program for children taking place in thousands of cities across the United States. The People City Mission is sponsoring this program in our community and has set up a number of businesses, fire stations, schools, and nonprofits around the city to become safe locations where kids can seek out help. They just need to look for the big yellow sign that says Safe Place on it. Then go inside and ask for help. We will be quickly connected to them and ensure they make it back home or to whatever resources are needed. If you'd like to find out more about Safe Place and ways in which you can get involved, just go to pcmlincoln.org. Remember, when we all do a little, we change a lot.
Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket.
Okay, playing 93.7 The Ticket.
Alexa, turn down the lights.
Dimming the lights.
Alexa, order a pizza. The big one. All the toppings.
Are you sure that's a good idea?
Alexa.
That's a lot of pizza for just one man.
Alexa, just do it. Stop judging me, just do it.
As you wish.
Thanks, Alexa. You're my best friend. Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket.
Okay, playing 93.7 The Ticket.
Alexa, turn down the lights.
Dimming the lights.
Alexa, order a pizza. The big one. All the toppings.
Are you sure that's a good idea?
Alexa.
That's a lot of pizza for just one man.
Alexa, just do it. Stop judging me, just do it.
As you wish.
Thanks, Alexa. You're my best friend.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it twice a day.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it in the morning and before dinner.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it, and share it with my doctor. Nearly 1 in 2 U.S. adults have high blood pressure. That's why it's important to self-monitor your blood pressure in 4 easy-to-remember steps. It starts with a monitor.
Now that I know my blood pressure numbers, I talked with my doctor. We're getting those numbers down.
Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. Talk to doctor now and share it.
Be next to talk to your doctor about your blood pressure numbers. Get down with your blood pressure. Self-monitoring is power. Learn more at manageyourbp.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, the American Heart Association, and the American Medical Association, in partnership with the Office of Minority Health and Health Resources and Services Administration.
At Fairway Meat Market, you're family, and as part of the family, they want to save you money on your meat and groceries. Fairway has fresh cut meats, seafood, cheese, wine, and spirits, and a friendly staff that's always ready to help you find what you need. Stop by Fairway Meat Market today to plan your weekly meals in the Rockledge Square Shopping Center, just south of 84th and Van Dorn.
Now back to Fitness Fanatics on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back to the Fitness Fanatics. Hold on, my headset's being all weird.
There you go.
This is kind of coming off my ear. Okay. No, it's still just.
Yeah, you got to tighten it up, buddy.
Nice
it's super loose. You stretched it out accidentally. Like.
Okay.
Jeff has probably never known that you could adjust the.
There's this part.
I know. It's just being
super extended right now. Break it, Jeff.
No, okay, we're good. It still feels kind of weird.
I don't
but
know what's going on.
That's okay. That's okay. All right. So we're talking running. I know, look at it. Just
I prefer not to look at you during the show.
yeah. Okay. So we're talking running. We got the Lincoln Half Marathon, full marathon going on today. We got the Husker Road Race coming up in July, and it is getting to the peak running season here as the weather gets nice and hopefully the wind dies down coming up. So we do have a guest coming up here at the 10 o'clock hour, and his name is John.
Mm-hmm.
What's his last name?
John Kelly.
I knew that. I didn't want to look again. John Kelly. So over the last couple of years, we've kind of talked about the Barkley Marathon. So you might be thinking, well, what's the Barkley Marathons? Well, Nicole, please tell us what the Barkley Marathons are.
Yeah. So I've been fascinated with the Barkley Marathons for a long time. It's been going on since like the 80s, I think. And it sounds really, the Barkley Marathons, it sounds like super organized. It's not. It's like the most chaotic race. We watched a documentary on it last night. I've already seen that documentary, but Jeff hadn't seen it yet. So it's in Frozen Head State Park in Tennessee. Like the date varies. It's usually in April. Jeff's abandoning his headset. It's in April. It's 100 miles. Is somebody listening to me? Because we're all watching Jeff. Okay. It's 100 miles. And I say that with air quotes because it's 5 loops through the mountains in Tennessee. So it's a trail race.
Mm-hmm.
And you loop it 5 times. Now, I do want to ask John about this because the documentary that we saw, when we saw it, and that was back in the early-ish mid 2000s, you did clockwise, counterclockwise, and then you alternated. Like if anyone got to the 5th loop, multiple people, they alternated starting back. But then when I watched the one from 2001 that he finished, I think they alternated. So it was clockwise, counterclockwise, counterclockwise, and then you got to choose.
But at the end, the last one, so like the one that we watched, there were pairs that went. So they were kind of teamed up because you're
navigating together. There are no markers telling you where to go. You have no GPS. You are using a map and a compass.
Was there like a rough trail to at least follow?
Kind of.
Part of it's trail, part of it's not.
A third of it is trail. The rest is just like
through the woods.
Through the
brush. Yeah.
There's no the checkpoints. It's just it keeps sounding crazier and crazier as you go. There are no if you do races, you run across mats. So like the half marathon and the full today, you're gonna run across a mat, and it's gonna track your 5K time, your 10K time, your halfway mark. It's gonna tell you where you are.
Yep.
They don't have those in Barkley. In Barkley, they will go out and they take a book, multiple books, like reading books, just random books. They hide them on the course and give you a rough, this is where you find the book. And you have to find the book and tear out the page that correlates with your bib number.
Mm-hmm.
And if you get back to done with your loop and you don't have all your pages, then you're disqualified. Some people don't finish Barkley because they spend 2 hours looking for a book and they can't find it to tear out their page as their checkpoint. So that's crazy alone. But when they say it's 5 20-mile loops, people will tell you it's more like marathon loops. And it ends up being more like 130 miles instead of 100 miles. Like it's just the craziest.
I don't even know what you wear to it.
Well, that's
you're not
the other
really
thing.
Running flat. You're these guys are straight up vertical.
The elevation change, if you finish all 5 loops, is the equivalent of climbing Mount Everest twice.
Oh my god.
And down. So not just climbing up, climbing
up and
down. Yes.
I think it's
that's the dumbest stat.
I think
right
it's
there.
a 12,000 elevation change every loop. So you do that 5 times. It's like Pikes Peak 5 times.
There's no way.
Yep.
That's incredible.
Because you're running roughly the same route every time. So really you only need, I'm assuming, this is another thing I want to talk to John about. I'm assuming once you get through the first loop, navigating the additional loops get a little bit easier because you've already done it. You're just reversing it and reversing it. But obviously your just your capability is you're losing a lot of steam each time because the cutoff for is 60 hours to do all 5 loops.
I guess you can go 60 hours. I might just
Try
camp
to
in the woods
stay
at
awake.
that point. Like I'll try again tomorrow morning.
Sometimes people sleep. Like they'll sleep for 10 minutes. They'll get back and they'll sleep for literally 10 minutes. And then I don't think John sleeps though, because
there's no way.
Unless he did in his earlier ones where I think he's attempted it 5 or 6 times. He's completed it 3 times, all 5 loops. He just did it this year, and he was only able to complete 3 loops, which they call the fun run. So that's
fun.
That's what 3 loops is called, a fun run. Because by the time you get to 3 loops, you pretty much know if you can get the 4th and the 5th done. So there's also a cutoff for 3 loops.
Yep.
I think it's 40 hours.
And there's temperature change. You're going up elevation. I know, like this past year, we watched a little documentary on just this one they just had.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, we did. You watched that with me. I've watched.
And it was the torrential downpour, 50-mile-per-hour winds, just.
Sometimes it snows, sometimes it hails, sometimes it's hot. And I mean, having done it 5 times, Harrison's looking up.
It's stupid.
I know.
You go elevation 2,000 feet, then you drastically drop down, then you're up to 2,000 again, down, up to 2,000, down, up, 2,000, 2,000. You hit 2,000 6 times.
Yeah.
Just go after descending all the way down.
And there's that one loop. That's one loop. You have to do it 5 times.
Well, and the thing we were talking about earlier is they were the one that we watched, you were running in pairs. So
you don't have
to, but these guys were teamed up.
A lot of times they will.
But on the last loop, the first person that starts goes either clockwise or counterclockwise.
Gets to choose.
Then the second guy or gal has to go the opposite direction.
Yes.
So now you're literally out there by yourself.
Yep.
For the final. And they run in when it's pitch black. I mean,
so you run. Oh, that's the other thing about this race. You have to be there the day that it starts, but it can start anywhere from in a 12-hour period. So you get to the woods and you're just there and you're waiting, and it can start at 8:00 in the morning. It could start at 9:00 at night. So you don't know when it starts. So you just get there, and then at some point, the main guy, his name's Lazarus Lake is his nickname. He will come out and he'll blow a conch shell, and that means there's 1 hour till race time.
And he brings out the conch shell.
Conch shell, blows the conch shell. The race starts with him lighting a cigarette. He lights a cigarette, and that's when the race starts. There's no starting gun.
It's very
only 40 people a year do this race. Get into it.
That's awesome.
It's very short.
Yeah, you got to be
right. Yeah.
Type of man. I mean, I'm just looking at some of the pictures of people that do it. All their legs are destroyed by the end of it.
The guy in the orange on the end. That's John that we're going to be talking to.
No way.
Yeah. Yep. That's John. That must have been from 2024.
Yep.
Because Jasmine's in that, and she was the first woman to complete Barkley marathons last year. And it was the most finishers. And that's why so I need to talk to John about this too, because he completed in 2003 with 3 finishers, 2023 with 3 finishers, 2024 with 5 finishers. What made him want to do it this year, knowing that they were going to make it so much harder, because that's way too many finishers in 2 years. And they did, because there were none. There were no finishers this year. He finished the fun run. There were a couple people who finished 3 loops, but nobody even, I think, attempted 4, or nobody finished all 5 this year. So that's the part that's interesting to me too. He signed up knowing that it was going to be brutal, which is a weird runner mindset, I guess. I don't know.
So let's talk a little bit about John and talk about kind of what he's done, some different things he's done. Because we only have him for 45 minutes. So, we don't even have him for enough time to tell him all our stories.
No, we're not going to
try to impress him with because we've done the Living History Farm. We've done some off-road trail races.
A 7-miler.
Living History Farm. So if we could just do that 15 times straight, that would be the equivalent. Of course,
the elevation's
about
close.
A couple hundred meters in elevation, or a couple hundred feet.
Yep. Yeah. So we won't be talking about ourselves a lot, because I have some questions. I have some friends that I know are really interested in what he has to say too. So, but So yeah, talking about John, and this is also a thing where, we all, like you said in the first segment, like whenever we say, if you think you're doing something crazier, there's always someone crazier. And like John is in the group of these are the crazier people. The other one before we go to break that we'll talk about is because at one point, like in late 2000s, he moved to the UK to do some of their ultra races in the UK. He's really seems to do a lot of ultra races, which are like long distance. So there's one race in UK that's like 3 different races. One is in Wales, one is in England, and one is in Scotland. Of course, we live in the United States, so we have no concept of how far away those are. Right. But so you can do all 3 of these races and ride your bike to the next race. So you finish one ultra race, you ride a bike to the next one, you finish the second one, you ride your bike to the third one. He attempted it in 2019, but only got to 2 of the races. But then he had he didn't continue on to the last one because he was concerned for his safety, according to Wikipedia.
What are the locations? You said Wales, UK?
Wales, England, and Scotland. So then he did it again in 2020. So this has, in total, and maybe we can ask him what the breakdown is. So the 3 running distances equal 185 miles of running, but you have to bike ride over 400 miles to get to the races.
That's just nonstop.
Your brain can't. Yeah, it's just nonstop. 83,000 feet of elevation gain. And he finished this route in 130 hours. I told you, Harrison. 130
That's like
hours.
5 days.
That's going across the entire piece of land right there.
Yeah. So
on a bike?
185 miles running, 400 miles cycling. 83,000 feet of elevation over 5 days or whatever.
We need to find out if he slept during this.
I feel like that's even crazier than Barkley, honestly.
Yeah, I do
but
too. That's pretty nuts.
I don't know how like the points where you stop that you just.
I think he was the first. He was the first one that completed it. Total, all 3. There was in 1990 someone who completed the running rounds, but he used motorized transport between the rounds to get it. But John rode his bike between. So we'll have to talk about that too.
Right? Like you almost can't stop.
Yeah, I don't think you can.
Like I'd imagine there's no way you get your muscles to fire back up again after stopping we're going.
In the documentaries about the Barkley, like most people would stop and because you got to eat. So like they would do one loop and they would sit down and like there's parts where you're running through like briar bushes. So their legs are just
legs are
absolutely just beat up. And so they would like, get cleaned up, change socks, do things with blisters, and just people are feeding them while they're doing all this stuff. Like they're literally getting spoon fed like rice and beans and bananas and drinking soda, like just to get their calories in before they go out again. But I think most people probably are. I think John is maybe 10 minutes between each loop and then he's out for the next one.
It's incredible.
It is. I know.
I feel really lazy this Sunday morning. I need to go do something today.
He's kind of a big deal.
It is a big deal. So let's go to break. And we'll have our one little short segment, and then hopefully he'll be joining us.
All right, so stay with us. 93.7 The Ticket, the Fitness Fanatics.
Spring has arrived. The temperatures are rising, and it's time to get your equipment ready for the season. Landmark Implement has high-quality used John Deere planters, sprayers, and tractors, priced to move and ready to work for you. Take advantage of unbeatable deals and flexible financing to upgrade your operation without stretching your budget. Stop by your local Landmark Implement or browse our full inventory online at landmarkimp.com. Before these deals are done, experience the Landmark difference.
Have you been injured in an accident and don't know where to turn? You need an attorney you can trust to handle your case with professionalism and compassion. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group understand that a call to an attorney is a call for help. If you've been injured, we want to help you. Liberty Law's experienced attorneys are committed to the pursuit of justice for those injured. Call Liberty Law Group and find out how we can help get you the compensation you deserve. Call 877-42-LIBERTY. 877-42-LIBERTY. Liberty Law Group. Trial attorneys you can trust.
It's never too late to start protecting your company's data from cyber attacks. Your customers put their trust in you to keep their information safe from online threats. Don't let them down. Partner with Hamilton Business Technologies to get real-time threat monitoring, advanced security protocols, and experts who monitor it all for you. We care about the success of your business and the communities you serve. Hamilton Business Technologies. Real people, real technology solutions. Connect with us at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and it's becoming a wild ride in the car market these days, but Koppel wants to let you know and assure you that we are staying the course with our usual pricing model. We've still got huge discounts and low interest rates, so let's get after it. We've got over $12,500 off list price or 0% APR right now on select new vehicles. New and pre-owned, our lots are full, so now's the time to buy. Please stop on in the dealership or check us out at koppelcars.com. You'll be glad you did. Stock number G187747. All deals with roof credit.
At Fairway Meat Market, you're family, and as part of the family, they want to save you money on your meat and groceries. Fairway has fresh cut meats, seafood, cheese, wine, and spirits, and a friendly staff that's always ready to help you find what you need. Stop by Fairway Meat Market today to plan your weekly meals in the Rockledge Square Shopping Center, just south of 84th and Van Dorn.
Hi everyone, Kendall Warnock, A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. Spring is here, summer is fast approaching. With weddings, vacations, and weekend getaways on your mind, do not let car issues prevent you from getting where you need to be. Car problems shouldn't be something that you put up with. Let us get you back on the road in comfort and safety. We diagnose all makes and models from Porsches to Hondas, Toyotas, and Chevrolets. We fix a variety of issues with all of them with our talented techs and our experienced staff. A1 Automotive at 11th and L, downtown Lincoln, always honest answers.
When you're outdoors beneath Nebraska skies, adventure comes in all sizes. From quick escapes and long weekends to true off-the-grid retreats. Paddle, hike, camp, explore. Whether you have a few hours or a few days, we'll guide you to a state park or recreation area that's a perfect fit. Start your next adventure today at yournebraskaparks.com. Sponsored by Nebraska Game and Parks, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Constructors is now hiring for all positions with pay starting at $23 and up based on experience. Constructors has immediate job openings for mechanics, bridge builders, operators, and drivers. Start your new career today. Constructors offers great pay, health, dental, and vision insurance, paid time off, paid holidays, and so much more. Join the crew today and be a part of Nebraska's oldest paving company dating back to 1908. For a complete list of openings and to apply online, visit constructorslincoln.com.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
Now back to Fitness Fanatics on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back. I'm going to get our sponsorship out of the way now.
Okay.
In a very limited time. So
yeah,
we're not quite to hour two, but hour two coming up is sponsored by Modern Woodmen of America. Founded in 1883, Modern Woodmen offers financial services and member benefits to individuals and families throughout the U.S. For more information, call Sean Erickson at 402-483-6515 to start the conversation. Modern Woodmen of America, touching lives, securing futures. So big shout out to them.
Mm-hmm.
We wanted to get that done before our guest came on here at the top of the hour.
Yep. Megan is almost done with the half. I'm a little bummed I didn't look just a little bit sooner because I probably could have ran out during the break and cheered her on.
You could have ran out and the Karis and I could have talked a little NBA.
I really couldn't. Well, she's way past it now. She's almost done.
Okay.
She's almost done. But right when we went to break, she was passing. Is this 10th? 10th and
yeah, 10th and 0.
She's doing the half or full?
The half.
Half?
Yep. So she is almost done. She's expected to finish in 2 minutes.
Oh, nice.
9 minutes. The Lincoln Marathon has a really great app where you can track the people that you know. Carrie is about 3 miles away. So.
And where's your Harrison? You said you had a buddy doing this.
Yeah, Riley Keene. I'm not sure where he's at. He just put it on his Snapchat, and I was watching him.
Oh,
I know he's a big runner. He's a few grades younger than me, but Hartington kid, population of 1,600. Yeah, see if you can figure out where Riley Keene's at. I think he's a pretty good, solid runner, representing Hartington, Nebraska. Cedar Catholic.
He is 2 miles away from the finish
of the full. We got some.
That's very good.
Yeah, this guy's insane.
That's crazy.
Something on that water up in because we also had Brian Santiago. I don't know if you guys ever heard. Probably not. He was really good track. I can't remember where he went to college, but now I'm rambling about the greats of Hartington, Nebraska. We can segue out there. But shout out Riley Keene.
He just
doing
turned
really good
to Capitol Parkway. He's expected to finish at 10:07.
Ooh.
No palindromes though on his screen, sadly.
So we were talking about our runners doing the half and where they're at. And then Harrison pulls out his buddy. She's like, oh, she's 2 miles away from finishing the full marathon.
He is 98th out of 916 men running the full marathon today.
He's
that's very good.
He's an animal.
Wow, and he's just effortless.
Probably.
I mean, they look effortless.
He's probably barely broke a sweat.
Well, when he was like doing his Snapchat, that's kind of making me laugh because like you could just see him and he's like, all right, half marathon, and he's got like a couple beads of sweat, but he's just like talking. You know, he's a little bit of breath. But
that's
he's not
so funny
laboring.
because when we were out there, we saw someone on their phone, and Jeff was like, "Oh, I think they're FaceTiming." I don't remember, but they were talking on their phone. So maybe it was
talking
him.
to somebody.
I don't know, but
pretty crazy.
Yep, he's at a 7-minute mile pace.
Yeah, 7-minute mile for a marathon is crazy work.
Yes, it is.
And my fastest mile, solo mile is like 7:20.
And you were just on your hands on your knees, gasping for air at the end, probably.
I don't even know if that was. That was when we had to alter the mile run for Farrell's. And I don't even know if it was a full mile.
Yeah,
but I'll take it. That's what I came in at. So
he's actually been very consistent. His pacing is that he's been pacing very well. So.
Well, you have to be.
It looks like his day is going hopefully as expected for him.
Yeah, it sounds like working out really well for him.
Yep.
All the marathon runners and the like John and these guys and gals that do these crazy long distance things. Like you're talking about how he's very detail oriented. Like you have to be detail oriented when it comes to like your calories in. You know how many calories you're burning. Training. I mean, I remember just running training run with Dennis Lyman, who's done some Ironman triathlons. And before one of my fulls, we did like a 20-mile training run. And he's just very like, okay, every 10 minutes, we're going to do this. Every 10 minutes. Now you're going to take a little salt. Now you're going to do a goo. Now you're going to do that. Like it was like clockwork.
He ran it with you just to help you stay on track.
Yep. He ran it with I'm going to run for fun with you. And that was my fastest one, is the one he was with. I was trying to break under 5 and I had like 5:15.
Yep.
Like, so I just could never do it.
It's hard, but then here we have Riley.
Yeah, very regimented.
Takes dedication though. I mean, he's been on that mountain for a while.
And time.
Time. And he's got some people. I think there's like a group of those people. His buddy Sam Anderson was another one. They all got really good long distance running, and they'd talk about it, but takes a ton of time. Now that I'm like thinking about it, I think these guys have probably been carving this kind of crazy conditioning out for a while.
Well, when you're training for your full, like I can't even imagine the training that like John does for his stuff, but like, you just go out and you run 40, 50 miles a week.
I don't know. We'll have to find out.
And then, I remember my highest training run was a 20-mile run. It was like, you do like 10 miles on Tuesday, 20 miles on Wednesday, 10 miles on Thursday. That's like the peak week training.
Yeah.
It was like 5, 10, 5, and then 20 on the weekend. That wasn't quite that.
So is this like the time of year that you just have like all these cities are holding these marathons?
Yeah, there's typically like spring and fall is when a lot of those races happen. So like I would say most Oklahoma cities was just last weekend. So I think April to probably June is a big time for full marathons, and then they'll ramp back up in like September through November.
Trying to figure because the Boston Marathon is like, because you need the times for these ones, right? Like
Yes.
official ones around
Yeah.
country to get into the Boston.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
'cause I know that's Riley's
Well,
goal, so I'm
Boston's
trying to
already
figure out-
happened this year. So if he's trying to qualify, he's trying to qualify for next year because Boston
Okay,
already
must be.
happened. Yeah. So that one's kind of earlier, but you have a lot of time to, and that's probably smart for him. So if he doesn't qualify for this one, he has more chances. But then just also talking about our guest John Kelly, according to Wikipedia, in 2022, he ran a marathon, the California International Marathon, and his time was 2 hours and 26 minutes for the full. And Riley is still on the course at 2:53. So just
Who's that maniac?
I know.
Oh my
Yeah.
Lord.
So 2:26. So he's probably in the 6s per mile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's about my PR. Well, 2:15, I think is my
For your half.
for my half.
Right.
Not full, for a half.
Yes.
Like if I run a 6:36 mile, like I'm like, holy, I just
You're
sprinted
26
that bad
miles.
boy.
Or 26 miles.
That's a good pace. That's
Not to
unreal.
take away from Riley, because that's still
It is
incredible.
accomplishment.
There's just levels to this. Like, it just always blows my mind.
Well, and you
I
like
know.
when some of these runners ran past us when we were watching, it was like you could just feel the wind just
You could.
just as they're just, I mean, because I know when I look down and I'm in like a brief stretch where I'm like, feel like I'm just flying, and I look down and I'm like, 6.5 minute pace for like 20 seconds. But I feel like I'm just soaring. And that's what these guys do for a full marathon.
Yep.
Or 100 miles or whatever it is. So,
Yeah.
all right. Well, we're going to go to break and hopefully John will be with us here. All right. He's locked and loaded. So we'll be joined by John Kelly here at the top of the hour. So stay with us. 93.7 The Ticket, the Fitness Fanatics.
Nebco is hiring CDL drivers for ready mixed concrete in Lincoln. With 3 plants across the city, there are plenty of opportunities to start or grow your driving career. They offer great pay, medical and retirement benefits, paid time off, and they cover the cost of CDL training. Apply today and receive a $2,500 hiring bonus. Since 1908, it's the employees that have formed the company's solid foundation. Start your career today with ready mixed concrete. Visit nebcoinc.com. That's nebcoinc.com.
Things that impair you come in many different shapes and sizes. Some are the shape of beer and liquor bottles. Others look like cigarettes but aren't cigarettes at all. These are the things we know impair us, the things our parents warned us about. What we're not always aware of is our new prescription or the over-the-counter medicine we picked up just for allergies or a bad cold. See, it doesn't just matter how much of a substance you take. If you are impaired, driving is deceptively dangerous. Don't drive impaired. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
And plastic surgery. Our team of top-notch medical professionals turns pain into progress with state-of-the-art treatments and compassionate care. Visit prairieortho.com and discover the difference in quality orthopedic and plastic surgery services tailored to your unique needs. Your health matters, and Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery is dedicated to helping you thrive. Reach your full potential. Embrace a better tomorrow with Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery.
When you were a kid, clubs were cool. Robotics club and space club and stuff like that. But what do adults get? Book clubs and quilting clubs? Nah, forget that. How about margarita clubs and old-fashioned clubs? Get to Upside Bar and Lounge for the best clubs in town. Try all 10 varieties of Upside margaritas or old fashions and take home a free souvenir glass. Grab the whole crew and pair it with taco night on Mondays or whiskey Wednesdays. Upside Bar and Lounge at 29th and Pine Lake. At Fairway Meat Market, you're family, and as part of the family, they want to save you money on your meat and groceries. Fairway has fresh cut meats, seafood, cheese, wine, and spirits, and a friendly staff that's always ready to help you find what you need. Stop by Fairway Meat Market today to plan your weekly meals in the Rockledge Square Shopping Center, just south of 84th and Van Dorn.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth. 93.7 The Ticket.
Load up on meat and more this spring at The Mercado by Certified Piedmontese with great selections of T-bones, tomahawks, ribeyes, filet mignon, brisket, sirloin, and so much more. The Mercado has locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Old Cheney in Lincoln, where you can have $2 draft beer every Thursday night from 4 to 8 p.m. and half-price espresso drinks on Fridays from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Get to The Mercado today for the best meat in town.
93.7 The Ticket is your home for every Kansas City Royals baseball game. Bobby Witt Jr., Salvador Perez, Vinny Pasquantino, and the rest of the Royals attempt to make the postseason for the second season in a row. And you can hear all the action on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Your home for Kansas City Royals baseball.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize to participate in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the KNTK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeited. Thank you for participating in our contests, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
Welcome into Fitness Fanatics on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Now here are your hosts, Jeff and Nicole Essink.
All right, welcome back to hour number 2 here at the Fitness Fanatics. We've been talking about running. It is the Lincoln Half Marathon, full marathon today, and we are super excited to be. We've talked about the Barkley Marathons every year that it happens, and we're super excited that our guest that is joining us is John Kelly, who has actually completed the Barkley Marathons twice. 3 times, and he's only one of how many, like 5 people, 10 people who do it multiple times.
Do you do research for the show at all?
I'm just very nervous.
I know.
And excited about this.
I know. I got to be honest, John. I kind of reached out to you before I knew how much of a big deal you were. So now I'm like really nervous. So I spent the weekend kind of watching documentaries, and I'm like, oh no, he's like a real athlete. Yes.
And what are we, just fake athletes?
Oh yeah, we're average Jeffs. You know that.
Well, John, thank you so much for joining us. The first question I have is, where in the United States are you right now?
I'm right around along the Tennessee-North Carolina border, kind of near the Boone, North Carolina, Mountain City, Tennessee area.
Is that like home for you, or did you just do a race not too long ago?
So it is near home. I grew up in East Tennessee and then spent, 20 years away. And so I've now returned. Most recent race was actually Barkley itself.
Oh, okay.
About a month and a half ago.
Okay. So yeah, we have a lot to talk about, but I do want to talk about Barkley because it's just something that's fascinated me for a long time. The mid 2000s, I was into triathlons, and I think it just was something that, like, in that endurance world, I had a lot of friends doing Ironman triathlons and stuff. And then I was introduced to Barkley, and it's just such a monster of a race. We spent the last segment talking about it, so like our listeners are aware of what all is encompassed in Barkley. But how did you get introduced to it, and what made you think, yes, this is something I want to try to do?
Well, where I grew up in East Tennessee is kind of the middle of nowhere, but it also happens to be the same middle of nowhere that Barkley takes place in. So just a small rural community. And so I knew about these crazy people kind of coming out to the mountains to do this event. Not much more than that. And it wasn't until I was about 10 years ago, when I was turning 30 and finishing grad school, that I got back into running, started running marathons, had a few years doing triathlons myself, and things just kind of snowballed, and I kept getting better. I kept exploring different things and longer distances, and eventually came back around to saying, I'd really love to try Barkley. It's appealing to me for the challenge and the same reasons that other people want to do it, but at the same time, it's very meaningful to me as kind of my home course and being able to represent the local community there.
That's awesome. So your first Barkley was in 2015, is that right?
Yep.
So looking at this, you've always done at least the fun run. Is that right? You've never completed less than 3 loops?
There was one year. So after I finished, the next time I came back, I finished 2 loops and I was in the lead. and I just said, no, I don't want to do this anymore, and I just stopped.
I would have
that
had
was
that
also
thought way sooner.
yeah, I mean that was also the week before my family and I were moving to the UK. And so just had a lot going on. And yeah, I was cursed with the knowledge of knowing what the later loops would require of me. And having already finished, the equation just didn't balance out in my head of being worth it at that point. And I think that's one big reason that there are only 3 of us who have finished more than once, because after you get that first finish, the cost benefit equation is not the same.
Well, and we were talking about that too, because you finished in 2023, and that was like a record, right? With 3 finishers. Is that right?
I think that was the second time that there had been 3 finishers. And
then even because I watched a documentary about that one, and at the end of that documentary, they were like, well, now it's going to get harder because, they don't want it to be that easy. And then you signed up for 2024, which was like 5 finishers, right?
And yeah, that was a record.
What made you sign up for 2025? Like, were you thinking like, oh, they can't really be making it that much harder? Because to me, that is like 2 levels above the crazy decision making. Like, you had to know that this year's race was going to be brutal.
Well, I mean, the 2 years with a lot of finishers, everything kind of lined up with a lot of experienced people out there who had put in the time, who were kind of ready to finish, waiting for that opportunity for the conditions to be right. And we had good weather, good start time. Everything worked out well. So, I didn't necessarily think it was going to be as hard as it was this year. And also, it's just a race that I genuinely enjoy it now. I know that sounds weird even to me, but I like being out there exploring the woods, getting to show people around my home, and there's no stress for me at all. I've already done it, so I don't have this thing hanging over me where it's like I need to finish. So I'm just able to enjoy it. And the other thing is, even if it does switch back, even if it does stay as difficult as it is now, or gets even harder, the main idea and intent of the race is to kind of see how far can you get, what can you do. How do you respond when you reach that limit and these challenges that you don't see in other races? And so there's also this a little bit of appeal to me, like genuinely not knowing if it's still something that I'm capable of doing.
Yeah, that makes sense. Did you have any questions, Jeff? Okay. I have no concept of doing a race without course support, without Jeff has gotten lost on a marathon before.
I did, yes.
A road race marathon. So I can imagine this race, the Barkley, having just a map. And now I did see in the documentary I watched about this year's race, you guys did have some technology. Did they have watches on all the racers? Is that something fairly new? And is that like a safety feature, or what was that?
Oh, they're just like $10 Casios from Walmart.
Just so you guys have a concept of time.
Yeah, just so you know. Yeah, exactly. Like where you are versus the cutoffs. There's no GPS, no altimeter, nothing. I mean, one year my alarm didn't even work for when I was trying to take a nap on a later loop. So there's nothing there other than knowing what time it is.
Okay. And then, so you go out on that first loop. Now, do you follow a similar path, but you're reversing it at some point too? Like, so does that make it a little bit easier to navigate as like it gets harder physically to complete the work? Or how does that work? Because I cannot imagine you start at a random time and then at some point it's nighttime and you're like just navigating in the darkness. What is that like for an average person? Because I just can't comprehend what that's like.
Yeah, nighttime and fog change things a lot. And these are dense forests you're in. It's not like the Rockies or the Sierra or the Alps or anything, where you have these beautiful mountain vistas and you can see these reference points in the distance to kind of ensure yourself that you're going in the general right direction. It's dense woods and all you see are trees. And so you're kind of making mental notes of those things and the lay of the land. But once it gets dark or foggy and you can't even see those, then it's very much compass bearings. And it does help to know the course. And that's one thing you do definitely need to make those mental notes of every single little landmark, every weird looking rock or knocked over tree or whatever on those earlier loops, so that you can look for them on the later loops. But between switching directions and switching between night and day and your own mental fatigue and sleep deprivation, every loop seems quite different.
Yeah.
That's just crazy.
I saw, so we watched a full documentary from the 2013 race. And so the guy said, so the head guy is Lazarus, you said? Okay. Just, I don't know if you've seen this documentary, but every time he talked about what was going on, he always just kind of had a little laugh. Like
evil laugh.
An evil laugh. And he said, like, they always let somebody in that has no business being on this course. I feel like that would be me, right? So the one that we watched, the guy made it out for like 2 hours and then he turns around, he comes back. Oh, I think that would be me out there.
Well, that's like what we've talked about when the Olympics go on and how they should have like just an average athlete like in the swim lanes next to the Olympic athletes, so you can really see. So when you're out there, because it's like, how much of it is running and how much of it is hiking? Like, what is your pace typically on these loops? Do you calculate that at all, like at the end or whatever?
Well, I mean, all you gotta do is 30-minute miles and you can finish Barkley. So
okay,
that's it.
Easy peasy.
That's easy.
Man, I can walk 30-minute miles, I think.
Yeah. So anyone can do it.
Yeah.
But no, it's
like something Lazarus would say.
Yeah.
Every time you have the opportunity to run, you have to run. And that's the downhills, that's any flat section, that's especially any time that you're on actual trail, which isn't often. And that's one way the course gets more difficult, that is more sneaky, that maybe it has the same distance and elevation game, but you're replacing a mile of nice smooth trail with just complete off trail nasty terrain. And so you do have to take advantage of those running sections, and you have to on the uphills you certainly don't run in a race that distance, but you have to be able to push, and you have to be able to push hard, and your fitness, your actual running speed has to be high enough to where when you are pushing on that climb, you're not hitting your red line, because no one can do that for 60 hours. I don't care who you are. So there's this concept of you have to be fast in order to move not fast without it really stressing your body.
Yeah. What did training look like for you then, with that in mind? How did you train for this?
Well, when I first got in and I had no idea what I was doing, I just kind of said, I need to find hills. All the hills. I got on Google Earth and looked for like the tightest contour lines everywhere around me, and just endless repeats. But now the much better approach, and what I work on with my coach, is really just maintaining my fitness and my speed year round. And then in the month or so, 3 to 6 weeks before the event, then I'll focus on that elevation gain and the more terrain specific and event specific training with some long days out of steep hills.
And then my next question is, because you mentioned that you did have, like, you slept on the course. Have does that work? Like, because it's 60 hours, but you finished in like, what's the shortest and the longest amount of time that have been out on the course? And how did you navigate that resting during that time?
I think my first finish was 59 hours and 30 minutes, and then my quickest finish was 58:40.
Okay.
Around there.
Yeah.
And so I actually, like in 2024, of the 5 finishers, I was the only one who slept. The others didn't sleep at all. And so I've always had a bit of an issue struggling to stay awake. And so I do get these dirt naps on the trail.
On the trail? Because I've seen where some people sleep between loops.
So that used to be a thing.
Okay.
Now that as the races continue getting harder, that's not really a luxury that you can afford. I did do that in 2024. That was like the first time I'd ever gone back to my campsite between loops. And so, yeah, that's pretty much non-existent anymore if you want to finish. And so it's the quick, efficient dirt naps where I know I get to that point where I can lay down and I can be asleep like that. There's no time wasted prepping, no time wasted going to my campsite and getting into a sleeping bag or anything like that. It is just instant 10 to 15 minute nap and I'm back on my feet. And it's amazing what that can do for you mentally for a few hours of just refreshing you and letting you get moving again.
That's what I was going to say next, because I know we say sleep, but it was really, I think most people, it's like 10 minutes. It's like a long blink.
And there's also the well-established practice in ultra running of the nappuccino, where you take some form of caffeine just before your nap, because it normally takes 10 to 15 minutes for the caffeine to actually take effect.
Mm-hmm.
So you take the caffeine, you get your nap, and then you wake up around the same time that the caffeine kicks in, and you get this sort of double boost to get you moving again.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I wonder what people would think if I took a little nap on like at the Lincoln Half Marathon. Like if that would be frowned. If they were like, "What's this guy just laying on the bridge for?" As they run by me.
I think it'd have to at least be the full marathon. I don't know, but yeah. I don't know. Well, we're actually gonna split these segments up into 2 20-ish minute breaks, but so we just have a couple minutes left. But I want to kind of have you talk about like what is kind of the hardest part of the race, because to all of us, everything seems hard. Like I can't imagine how you do this. Like, is it physical? Is it mental? Like what do you think is the biggest thing that you have to kind of overcome during that whole 60 hours? And then in the next segment, I want to talk about the other crazier things that you've done as well.
So the one thing I enjoy about Barkley is it does require so many different skills, and you're not going to be able to be just a really good runner or just a really good navigator or just be really mentally tough and finish the race on that one thing alone. So everyone kind of has the area that they're weakest in, and that area is going to be what's most difficult for them. Some people, it's the navigation. Some people, it's the speed and the strength to be able to attack those climbs quick enough. For me, I do think it's the staying awake thing that normally gets me in the end. That wasn't the problem this year. This year, the course was just so difficult that I couldn't move fast enough. But generally it's the sleep that gets me on the multi-day things.
Is that what you thought was going to be the hardest part, or was there some other part that you thought was going to be and then it kind of like snuck up on you?
Yeah, so I thought the sleep was my biggest concern, and so I kind of get to the point where I will just. Some people get sleep deprived and they hallucinate. Some can't think clearly. I will just flat out fall asleep. I'll go down harder than the bad guy in a Rocky movie and just be sleeping there on the trail. So that was the biggest concern, but it turned out just the course was so difficult this year that I wasn't able to move fast enough. And I made a few small navigation mistakes, and I didn't have the luxury of being able to make those. There was no margin for error this year.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll go to break, and then I do want to talk about that briefly when we come back, and then we'll talk about the other stuff. But we're going to just take a break here real quick, and we'll be We'll be right back.
Yep. All right. Stay with us. 93.7 The Ticket, the Fitness Fanatics.
Why are some people more successful? Is it talent and determination, or did they recognize an opportunity? Discover a career that lets you help families reach their financial goals as you build lasting professional relationships. One with unlimited income potential. From Modern Woodman, a leading fraternal financial services provider.
I'm Modern Woodman Regional Director Sean Erickson. Call me at 402-483-6515 to learn about career opportunities.
Modern Woodman of America. Touching lives, securing futures.
Sometimes I just cannot believe all the storms we've gone through here. I can only hope that we'll be able to leave this house to you one day, baby. You're our legacy.
Planning for these disasters will make sure we're safe, and is the best way to protect that legacy.
Protect your legacy. Visit ready.gov/plan for the tools and tips you need to start your emergency preparedness plan today. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
My early Alzheimer's diagnosis was hard to take, but it gave my mom and me more time to plan together.
Talk to your family about seeing a doctor. Go to alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
It's never too late to start protecting your company's data from cyber attacks. Your customers put their trust in you to keep their information safe from online threats. Don't let them down. Partner with Hamilton Business Technologies to get real-time threat monitoring, advanced security protocols, and experts who monitor it all for you. We care about the success of your business and the communities you serve. Hamilton Business Technologies. Real people, real technology solutions. Connect with us at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
Get ready for the largest dirt late model event in Nebraska, race fans. The Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series is heading to Eagle Raceway's High Bank Heist on Thursday, May 15th through Saturday, May 17th. See the greatest dirt late model stars in the country compete for $10,000 to win on both Thursday and Friday, and an enormous $50,000 to win 75-lap main event on Saturday. The High Bank Heist, May 15th through May 17th at Eagle Raceway. For more info, visit eagleraceway.com. Let's go Lucas Oil Late Model Racing. Eagle Raceway, just 10 miles east of Lincoln on O Street.
Constructors is now hiring for all positions with pay starting at $23 and up based on experience. Constructors has immediate job openings for mechanics, bridge builders, operators, and drivers. Start your new career today. Constructors offers great pay, health, dental, and vision insurance, paid time off, paid holidays, and so much more. Join the crew today and be a part of Nebraska's oldest paving company dating back to 1908. For a complete list of openings and to apply online, visit constructorslincoln.com.
We've been hunting these fields north of Kearney since high school. My buddy Ryan has always been my wingman, the life of the party. But I saw a change, and he got really down. Talked about his life being worthless.
If you know someone who's struggling, talk to them about temporarily storing their guns away from their home, taking care of friends and neighbors. It's what we do in Nebraska. Paid for by the University of Nebraska Public Policy Center, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Okay, kids, Dad's gonna teach you how to dance. First, spread your feet apart. Then, pump your knee, nod your head, shake your hips, and bite your lip ever so slightly. Now, with one hand in the air, point at people with the other hand. I call that the rock star.
Dance like a dad. It's a great way to make a moment with your kids.
Now, make a face like it just smells something bad.
Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
If you came across someone struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them? By their clothes, their age, the way they speak? Would you notice a 16-year-old boy who got his first job,
not for extra spending money, but to help feed his little sisters?
or a mother who's in between jobs and sometimes goes to bed hungry so her kids can have dinner? Or a 14-year-old girl who signs up to every after-school activity, not to make friends, but just to get something to eat? Or a retiree who fell ill and had to choose
between getting medicine or groceries.
I am the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger. People you pass by every day but never knew were hungry. I am hunger in America.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America, 200 Food Banks Strong, and the Ad Council.
If you're a veteran, our nation has created a wide range of benefits to thank you for your service. But it can be difficult to navigate the process of determining eligibility, filing claims, appealing decisions, and securing the benefits you've earned. Speak to your County Veteran Service Officer or the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs State Service Office to see what's available to you and your family. These services are 100% free. So visit veterans.nebraska.gov today. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Now back to Fitness Fanatics on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back into the Fitness Fanatics. We are joined by John Kelly. We always have the saying on our show, there's always somebody crazier than you. I think John might be up in the category of crazier. I don't think there's anybody crazier than John.
Well, there is.
Maybe at the same level.
Yes. Yeah.
So he might be at the top of
the whole group of them up there, way up there at the top.
All right. So you had one more question about the Barclays, and then we'll move on to some other stuff.
So talk about last year's race and how it was this year's race and how much, why it was so much more difficult. And are you going to do it again? Because that's probably always the next question.
Yeah, it was just there was significantly more vert added. I mean, there was about 10% more elevation gain added to the course. Each loop was a bit longer. They officially say that every loop is 20.0 miles every year, but it's not, and it's off trail and it's unmarked. So this year was a bit longer. The terrain was a bit more difficult. So overall, it was just physically a tougher course. And
so as far as the question about the elevation gain, when do you know that it's going to be harder? Do you not know until you're out there? Or do you see the map when you get there and you're like, oh, okay, this is going to be a little more challenging?
Yeah, you get the map the day before. Mm-hmm. And so at that point, you have a general idea, but you can't know exactly until you actually get out there and do it. And that's one reason there can be kind of this calibration phase when the course does get more difficult, because it's very, when you're trying to design something that is right at the edge of what's possible, small changes can make big differences, and it's impossible really to see that until people get out there and go for it. And so whether the course will remain the same next year or will be adjusted a bit, that remains to be seen. But I do plan on going back again. It's my home course. It's a quick trip for me, doubles as a visit to family. I enjoy getting out there and doing it. And again, there is a little bit, I've done the math, and it's kind of, to me, if I have the absolutely perfect race, if everything goes right, I think I could just barely finish on this course. Mm-hmm. And having a perfect Barkley, whether that's possible is a whole different question, but there is a little bit of appeal to me, again, of it being something that I don't know if I can do it or not.
And then one last question about Barkley, because I think that did Lazarus or Gary, did he say he's officially retiring? Is it going to be someone new running the race next year, or is he kind of stepping a little bit?
Carl Leniak has effectively taken over and been doing most things.
Okay.
The past 2 or 3 years.
Okay.
Laz is still there. His presence is still there, and he still plays a role, and I think signs off on some things. But yeah, the race is transitioning to Carl.
So that's kind of already happened.
Yeah.
Then okay, so then that won't be anything to. One of our friends kind of had a question about that does some ultras, so I wanted to make sure I got that in there. So we were looking through kind of your Wikipedia and some of your other runs and races that you've done, and so that's kind of what I wanted to talk about for the rest of the segment. What is your what's your wheelhouse, or what are some of the accomplishments that you've done that because you said Barkley, there's so much unknown. It sounds like there's a lot of unknown in any of the races that you do. So I guess that's kind of a weird question, but like, what are some of the other accomplishments that you've done that you're pretty proud of?
So yeah, I mean, I enjoy that element of unknown in these things. I think that's part of what makes it fun and exciting, and trying to solve these problems. I lived in the UK for a few years, and so did a few things over there. Some speed records or fastest known times on some of their big trails, the Pennine Way, which goes about 260 miles straight up the middle of England to the Scottish border. The Wainwrights was about 5.5 days of hitting 214 peaks there in the Lake District, which is just this absolute beautiful mountain area there. And probably one of the craziest things I did, and this was right after I was coming off my triathlon days, and I had just moved over there. They have these 3 fell running rounds, which a round is where you start and finish at the same point, and you try to tag all these peaks, and kind of the route that you take is up to you, as long as you hit all the peaks and you get back to your starting point, which I enjoy the creativity element that's added to that. But I got over there and I said, I need to do all these things. I need to experience all these things now while I'm here. And so I decided to do all 3 of their big fell running rounds, which are about 24 hours each, and ride my bike in between them. So
yeah, we kind of talked about that. We kind of talked about that in the first segment, but we, being from the United States, have really no concept of what that all is. So yeah, if you wanted to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, it was in total, I think, about 400 miles of biking, about 200 miles of running with 70,000 or so feet of elevation gain. So the 3 big mountain rounds. And it took me about 5.5 days. I got hit by a named windstorm, Storm Ellen, on the last round up in the Scottish Highlands, and it really kind of pushed me over the edge. It was a struggle to finish, but that was, these things to me, they're adventures. And so as far as my wheelhouse, it is going in this sort of 2 to 5 day range where it's short enough that it's not harmful to my actual life and my family and my job and my career. Setting aside the fact that I'm doing something soon that will be much longer than that. But they're also longer, that they're long enough to where it doesn't feel so much a race as it does a genuine adventure, and getting out there and exploring and trying to solve all of these problems that arise, other than just running and trying to move faster, and seeing beautiful sights along the way as well.
I'm sure that helps. And you're the only one that's completed that, is that right? With the
it's been done driving between them, doing the 3 rounds consecutively, but currently I'm the only person that has done it biking between.
And that was fun. What does that look like in terms of like resting? Do you have like camp that you overnight camp at all, or are those still like
I had some beds and a camper van that kind of between each portion of this, I had a run, bike, run. Mm-hmm. And sort of between each section, I would sleep for a bit. And that was especially important before the bike. So I finished this on my second attempt. On my first attempt, it's one thing for me to be sleep deprived and drowsy when I'm out running on a trail, and the worst that happens is like I fall over and sleep in the dirt. Being unable to stay awake and focus on a bike on the road is an entirely different thing. And so the first time that I tried it, I didn't feel okay with where I was on the bike portion going up to Scotland on this mountain highway with trucks on it. And I said, no, we're stopping here.
Yeah.
And so the second time around, I had a better sleep strategy to ensure that I could hit the bike sections alert and focused and not worried about, swerving into the road while I was out there.
That's awesome. And then, so talk about what you have coming up next.
So I'm doing the Appalachian Trail, which has kind of always been the big dream of mine, even before I started doing these crazy, unreasonable ultra running things. I always wanted to do the AT and just, frankly, never had time for it. And that's one reason I started trail running is I was kind of a hiker and wanted to be able to see more in the limited amount of time that I had. So I thought, if I run, then I can see more stuff. But even going for the speed record on the Appalachian Trail is still 40 days. And so I kind of have this narrow window here, I feel like, where, I've progressed enough in my career and where I am in life to be able to take that chunk of time away. But it's before my kids have big, high school summer commitments of their own. It's while I'm still young enough to give this thing my best effort. And so it's kind of this one-off now or never thing for me in tackling something this long.
So what does that look like? Well, because we know a couple people that have done sections of it multiple times.
Yeah.
But what does it look like to complete the entire trail? So like what is each day, on average going to look like for you? Best case scenario, of course.
Well, the terrain varies a ton. So, this is a 2,200 mile trail, around 500,000 feet of elevation gain. And that's something that a lot of people don't realize. And this goes back to people underestimating Barkley as well. They think, it's the East Coast. But like the Appalachian Trail has more elevation gain than the Pacific Crest Trail. And the mountains are punchy. They're rugged and they're constantly up and down. The climbs might not be as long, but it's unrelenting. And so, portions of that, like through the Smokies, through the White Mountains, up in New England, sections of that are certainly going to be more difficult and slower than, for example, some of the middle states, which are a bit flatter. But overall, average, it's going to have to be around 60 miles a day. And so it's going to be moving constantly. That's the big thing on these is, you can't stop. And so looking at moving for 18 hours a day, how little sleep can I get by on? These are all open questions for me. Because again, I've never really gone past this 5-day mark. So what can I do for 40 days straight? There's going to be a lot of learning on the go for me on this one.
So do you have like a support staff for this, or is just you and your backpack?
Yeah, so these things are kind of tracked now with the fastest known times. I think people have been doing speed records on the AT since before that term existed. But before fastest known times, there is supported, where you have a crew with you. They can carry stuff. They can meet you at road crossings. They can do pretty much anything for you other than like actually physically move you forward.
Yeah.
And so that's the style that I'll be doing. There's also self-supported, which you're like allowed to go into town and resupply or leave yourself caches or mail yourself stuff ahead of time. But there's no one else can directly help you. And then there's unsupported, where you have to start with everything and carry it the entire way except water from natural sources. And no one's ever done the AT like that. I don't think and anyone ever will. But people have definitely done it self-supported, and there's some very impressive records on that.
I wonder what Brad did. We have one of our members at our gym did part of the AT, and He just almost died on
He
it.
got injured. Yeah,
Did
he ended up getting injured. He was not prepared. He would have been the number one bib in the Barkley marathons. He had no business doing it. He just came off of doing running with the bulls on a whim, and then decided yeah, I know. Then decided to do part of the Appalachian Trail and ended up with like rhabdo or something. He ended up hallucinating.
But he
and
went
being
back
injured.
and finished.
He did. He went back and finished the stretch, not the entire trail though. But you have much more experience. And that's my final question with this Appalachian Trail. Like, so you have a goal to get, kind of that fastest time. Will there be a point on the course where if you know that you can't make the full trail in the time that you want, that you'll kind of throw in the towel, try it again? Or are you just going to push through? And if it takes you longer than 40 days, you'll at least say that you completed it. Like, what's that kind of thought process for you?
Well, for one, I think this is likely, and I mean, I've said this before about shorter races, about Barkley, about doing Ironmans, about really even the first marathon I did. I was like, I'm just going to try this once, and then I'm good. I'm done after this one marathon that I'm going to run. But for this, I do genuinely think that like this is my one opportunity. I'm not going to be able to continue taking this amount of time both to do it and to prepare for it out of my life. And so, I barring injury, which of course could happen, I will continue. And I also, doing these things, looking at what other people have done, definitely assists with the planning of kind of a benchmark of what's possible. But I've learned myself that the hard way that you don't go out and do these things looking to do what someone else did a little bit better. You go out looking to do the absolute best that I can do. And so that's going to mean doing things my way and trying to avoid those kind of constant comparisons of, where am I against the speed record? Where am I against where this other person was at this point in their attempt? It will be going out there and doing continually the best that I can do. And just, again, barring injury, continuing on with that. And we'll see what the clock says at the finish.
And will you be giving us some updates, like on your Facebook page? Like, are you
if
going to
people want to follow along, how can people find you to learn about that?
So my social media handle is Random Forest Runner, and I'm most active there on Instagram and Facebook. There will be daily content on there, kind of update videos and whatnot. There will also be some weekly episodes from a film crew that will be out there putting some content together. And overall, I'm also looking to so where I am is the region that was pretty well just catastrophic damage from Hurricane Helene last year. And so we'll be tying this into a fundraiser for that. And a lot of the content will focus on those sort of parallels between resilience and recovery and ultra running, doing these crazy things in the mountains. So that will be up there as well on social media. And I'll also have a tracker page with all of this information where you'll be able to follow my little GPS dot all the way along the trail from Georgia to Maine.
Well, we'll
awesome.
definitely be living vicariously through you.
Yes, we will.
So when is that supposed to start?
Memorial Day weekend.
All right.
Yep.
Coming
just
up.
a couple weeks. Well, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you giving us a glimpse into how the top 0.2% probably in fitness kind of lives and breathes, and we will definitely be following along and rooting for you as you bring
and
that
Nicole
on.
and I, we're gonna go on like a 20-mile bike ride today. Any suggestions or tips for us to survive this?
We haven't ridden our bikes in probably 9 months.
And enjoy it. Be safe. Watch for cars. Hydrate and fuel well. You know, it's important for while you're out there and the recovery for the next one.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you, John, so much. We appreciate it. We'll be following along with you on your next adventure along the Appalachian Trail. So we appreciate your time
so much.
Yep. And we'll be in touch.
Thank you all so much.
Right,
Enjoyed
thank
it.
you.
Have a great rest of your day.
Right. You too.
Get ready for the largest dirt late model event in Nebraska, race fans. The Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series is heading to Eagle Raceway's High Bank Heist on Thursday, May 15th through Saturday, May 17th. See the greatest dirt late model stars in the country compete for $10,000 to win on both Thursday and Friday, and an enormous $50,000 to win 75-lap main event on Saturday. The High Bank Heist, May 15th through May 17th at Eagle Raceway. For more info, visit eagleraceway.com. Let's go Lucas Oil Late Model Racing. Eagle Raceway, just 10 miles east of Lincoln on O Street.
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program. Hope is only a conversation away when you choose to share your talent, time, and heart with a child. Together, you can build a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future, 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting lincolnteammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
Tailored Landscapes is actively preparing for spring. Things like new tree orders, getting equipment ready, and training staff to serve you the best they can. If you haven't already planned, now is the perfect time to figure out a maintenance plan for your yard. Tailored Landscapes is on the brink of spring cleanups for all their existing customers, and they have limited spots available. They trim trees and shrubs when needed and only mulch proper amounts. Give Tailored Landscapes a call at 402-432-2572 to set up a meeting with one of their designers and stop by the Tailored Life store in Bennett.
Nebco is hiring CDL drivers for ready mixed concrete in Lincoln. With 3 plants across the city, there are plenty of opportunities to start or grow your driving career. They offer great pay, medical and retirement benefits, paid time off, and they cover the cost of CDL training. Apply today and receive a $2,500 hiring bonus. Since 1908, it's the employees that have formed the company's solid foundation. Start your career today with Ready Mixed Concrete. Visit nebcoinc.com. That's NEBCOINC.com.
Advanced Medical Imaging is the largest radiology group in Nebraska, located in Lincoln at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard. At Advanced Medical Imaging, they utilize state-of-the-art technology and blend it together with their compassionate, skilled team to guide you through every step. Whether it's an MRI, CT scan, or X-ray, their precise diagnostics help your doctor deliver the best care plan for you. Choose clarity and comfort in your life by choosing Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard and online at amimaging.com.
Have you been injured in an accident and don't know where to turn? You need an attorney you can trust to handle your case with professionalism and compassion. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group understand that a call to an attorney is a call for help. If you've been injured, we want to help you. Liberty Law's experienced attorneys are committed to the pursuit of justice for those injured. Call Liberty Law Group and find out how we can help get you the compensation you deserve. Call 877-42-LIBERTY. 877-42-LIBERTY. Liberty Law Group. Trial attorneys you can trust.
Tailored Landscapes is actively preparing for spring. Things like new tree orders, getting equipment ready, and training staff to serve you the best they can. If you haven't already planned, now is the perfect time to figure out a maintenance plan for your yard. Tailored Landscapes is on the brink of spring cleanups for all their existing customers, and they have limited spots available. They trim trees and shrubs when needed and only mulch proper amounts. Give Tailored Landscapes a call at 402-432-2572 to set up a meeting with one of their designers and stop by the Tailored Life store in Bennett.
Hey, it's Chad with Nutrition Authority inviting you to stop in and check out the #1 selling complete post-workout product, CPR. CPR is ideal for anyone who works out, exercises, or competes and wants to maximize results. CPR can only be found at Nutrition Authority. Stop in today, try a free sample, or visit us at mynutritionauthority.com.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize to participate in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the KNTK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeited. Thank you for participating in our contests, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
Now back to Fitness Fanatics on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back, Fitness Fanatics. Now it's just us. Womp, womp, womp.
Yeah.
No, big shout out to John. We appreciate him coming on the show. I think kind of the moral of his story is like, you can do anything you want.
Yeah, that's the
right?
point of like there's always someone crazier kind of saying, because it's like you can think of something and be like, no, I can't do that. I'm like, but yes, you can because there's someone doing something even crazier than what you can think of. And so I think if you're interested in learning more, there's a lot of documentaries about Barkley marathons on YouTube. So you can go back. I think the one that we watched, the original one that's like 90 minutes long, is like Barkley Marathons, the race that eats its young is what it's called. And then there's ones about like shorter ones about each year. So if you're interested in kind of seeing behind the scenes of Barkley, I would recommend watching those. They're really interesting. But
yeah, you just go Random Forest Runner too on his social media is what he has.
Random Forest Runner on Facebook and Instagram. He has a lot of pictures from Barkley out there too.
I'm excited to like follow along for the. I mean,
Appalachian Trail.
Harrison, this will get us through the summer, right till football starts.
I'll tune it in. I wonder what that does for your mind when you start like accomplishing those goals.
It makes you want to do more things. That's the thing. Like
you just
what's next?
Just becoming like,
what's next?
Yeah. Waking up just every day, attacking everything. I don't know. That's just crazy mindset to get into.
It makes
still trying to piece together. Like I encourage him to just go look at the map of this thing and the distance. I still can't really comprehend it.
No.
I don't know how incredible of a feat that is and like what that do to the mind if you're actually able to do it.
Well, and with Barkley, there was one guy a couple years ago that he got, and he, like John had talked about, there's people when they're sleep deprived and they hallucinate. This man got lost and he ended up in a nearby town hallucinating, talking to garbage cans, like literally talking to garbage cans, thinking they were real. And the police like picked him up and drove him back to the start because, and it was all because of sleep deprivation. Like, so.
And then when people quit, they play taps.
Oh, we didn't even talk about that. So when you finish, if you don't do all five loops, you have to tap out, and they play taps on a bugle. And this year, John he tapped himself out. He played taps on the bugle himself. We didn't even talk about that. And then if you finish all 5 loops, they have do you remember, Harrison? You might not because you're so young, but Staples used to have this, like, that's easy button. Like it would be like,
that was easy.
Yeah. They have that actual button. And when you finish all 5 loops, that you push that. And it was like, that was easy.
Easy. Let's do it again.
This is the most unique
It is.
race I think in the entire world at this point.
It sounds like I'm just making stuff up off the top of my head, but it's like an actual race.
It really does sound.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I would highly recommend watching the documentaries. It's just a whole glimpse of like a whole just different world of people. And there was one guy in 2000 in the documentary we watched that like did it, and he was one of the 3 finishers with John in 2023. I think, or he didn't finish. No, I think he only did 3 loops. But that was kind of interesting to see too, that it was someone that much older doing it again. So
and one of the guys on that documentary talked about how like one of the reasons he wanted to get out and do these adventure races and see things is because his dad passed away. Like his dad was, he talked about you want to save your whole life to go on vacations and you get older, retire. And he said his dad passed away like 2 months before retirement.
And they had saved all this money to
go on trips with his wife. And so he's like, you never know when you won't be here anymore. So you need to live life to the fullest and take advantage of those times while you're here. And he was one of the persons that completed it.
No, he didn't complete.
He didn't? I thought he did with like 10 minutes. Like
I don't know. Maybe not.
5 minutes
I've watched
ago.
too many in the last 2 days on allergy medicine. So I'm having my own hallucination.
Even if you got a loop, I'm not talking. I'm not dissing it.
No, not at all. And I think it would be, I don't know.
So it's kind of cool.
It'd be cool to be down there. I would never want to try, but I think it would be fun to just be a support for someone down there. Be a part of it without actually having to do it.
Even that part would be hard. I mean, you're in the middle of the thick woods there.
The
you get
other
lost
thing
support.
that we didn't talk about, and I don't know if this is still true, but in the 2013 documentary, it talks about, first of all, they have hundreds of people apply, and it's like $1.60 to apply. You have to send in $1.60.
What's that for? Just so there's some sort of paperwork, probably.
Lazarus jokingly is like, that's my retirement fund, because they get hundreds of applications. But when you get in, they send you a condolence letter. Like, I'm sorry to inform you, you have been accepted into the Barkley Marathons. So you get a condolence letter. And then your race entry, the first year, your race entry is not monetary. You have to bring a license plate from your hometown, like your home state.
Oh, that's what those signs.
Yeah,
were.
so there were
Okay, that's what I
license
was
plates
wondering.
all over. So that's what you do the first year. And then if you do subsequent years, there's other things like, and so Lazarus in this documentary says, like, this is where it sounds like I'm making this up. Like the first year you had to bring a white button-up t-shirt or for a couple of years. And then he just kept them for his own personal stash. And then once he had enough white button-up shirts, then it was socks. And then once he had like a lifetime supply of socks, it was flannel shirts. And
So he's just getting a wardrobe from people.
Yeah.
basically.
Lazarus playing the real long game
So
here. I like
such a funny.
So they don't do
character.
it. They don't do it to like raise money, or I mean, it's for
No, I mean, maybe you could, like
Yeah.
the way John is
Yeah.
raising money in this trip, like you could do it on
Right.
your own.
Right.
But no, it's not like Ironman triathlons where it's hundreds of dollars to apply.
Hundreds, yeah.
It's not. It's like literally a flannel shirt or a pair of
Yeah,
socks.
he's filling his wardrobe over the course
He
of what
says
sounds
that.
like years.
Yeah, he
so
says
I
that
think it's
too.
a pretty humble
It's
task.
hilarious. Like
Flannels.
I don't
Yep.
understand how they came up with all this, but this was a good show.
Yeah, it's a great show.
Yeah.
So we will be here next week for Mother's Day. We have a mom of 3 that'll be here with us. Instructor and member Molly Peterson will be in studio with us. Celebrate Mother's Day. So you guys have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you next Sunday on Mother's Day weekend. 93.7 The Ticket, Fitness Fanatics.